Hello everyone, in this video we're going to explore the big 13 Taylor series MCQs that most tested on the apcalculus PC exam. Now let's move on to question 1. Select the values of a function f and its first three derivatives are indicated in the table above. What is the third degree Taylor polynomial for f about s equals 1? The question wants you to find the third degree Taylor polynomial. Alright, so we're gonna start right here, right? And the center at s equals 1 is tells us that a equals 1, right? So we have p3, right? Because we start at 3. Of s equals f of 1 plus f prime of 1 times s minus 1 over 1 factorial plus f double prime of 1 times s minus 1 square over 2 factorial plus f triple prime of 1 times s minus 1 cube over 3 factorial. Now f of 1 is 2, right? Plus f prime of 1 is going to be negative 3 times s minus 1 plus f double prime of 1 is going to be 3, right? 2 factorial is going to be 2, so we have 3 over 2 times s minus 1 square plus f triple prime of 1 is going to be negative 2, right? And 3 factorial is going to be 6, right? So we have negative 1 over 3, right? Times s minus 1 cube. So the answer must be B. Now let's move on to question 2. The third degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s equals 0. It tells us that the center equals 0, right? TOS equals this guy, which of the following table gives the value of the function f and its first three derivatives at s equals 0, right? P3 of s equals f of a plus f prime of a times s minus a plus f double prime of a over 2 factorial times s minus a square plus f triple prime of a over 3 factorial times s minus a cube, right? Now center at s equals 0, which means a equals 0, right? Substitute 0 for a, we have this guy right here equals f of 0 plus f prime of 0 times s plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial times s squared plus f triple prime of 0 over 3 factorial times s cubed, right? Now we given this guy right here, so we just put this guy down over here. Now we just match this guy up. F of 0 equals 3, right? Next one, f prime of 0 equals negative 4, right? F double prime of 0 over 2 factorial equals 2. So f double prime of 0 should be 4, right? And f triple prime of 0 over 3 factorial equals negative 3. So f triple prime of 0 equals 3 factorial times negative 3 is going to be negative 18, right? So all this is match this guy. Now let's move on to question 3. What is the radius of convergence of the series s minus 4 to the 2n over 3 to the n? Alright, so again, we're going to use the ratio test, right? So we have limit of absolute value of a sub n plus 1 over a sub n when n approaches infinity, right? This guy right here, actually a sub n, right? So we have limit when n approaches infinity of absolute value of s minus 4 raised to the 2 parentheses n plus 1. Be careful. If you write 2n plus 1 like this, that's completely wrong, right? Over 3 raised to the n plus 1. Divide by this one, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal, right? So 3 raised to the n over s minus 4 raised to the 2n, right? So we're going to simplify this one. This guy actually 2n plus 2, right? So we have limit when n approaches infinity. Absolute value of s minus 4 raised to the power of 2, right? Over 3, right? Because 3 raised to the n and 3 raised to the n cancel out. Absolute value of s minus 4 square over 3, right? And we need this guy to be less than 1, right? So it's going to be absolute value of s minus 4 square less than 3. Now check square root both sides. Absolute value of s minus 4 less than root 3, right? So it's going to be negative root 3 less than s minus 4 less than root 3, right? Now we just draw the number line, right? Now observe that the center right here s equals 4, right? So we put 4 right here. Now if we solve this one, it's actually s less than 4 plus root 3, right? And this guy greater than 4 minus root 3, right? So right here 4 plus root 3 and right here 4 minus root 3, right? And the distance right here is greatest of convergence, which is root 3, right? The answer must be C. Let's move on to question 4. For s greater than 0, which of the following is the function of this power series, right? You know that the cosine function, the power right here should be even, right? The bottom must be even, so this is odd, this is not the case, right? Now B, the top should be odd, right? The bottom should be odd, but the top is even, so it's not the case. C, sine s over s, this one could be, right? Remember we have sine s is. So if I take sine s divided by s, and then this guy divided by s could be 1. This guy divided by s could be negative s squared over 3 factorial plus s to the 4 over 5 factorial minus s to the 6 over 7 factorial plus etc. So the answer must be C. Now let's move on to question 5. What is the coefficient of s to the 4 in the Taylor series for cosine square of s above s equals 0, right? So when s equals 0, it tells us that this guy is the Markov series, right? So we have cosine of s equals. So if we need cosine square of s, this guy actually cosine s times cosine s, right? So does that mean this guy multiply by itself, right? But I don't recommend you doing this way because it's time consuming, right? So let's do this way. We have cosine of s equal this one, right? So what happened to cosine of 2s, right? So we just replace s with 2s as the big one minus 2s altogether square over 2 factorial plus 2s altogether to the 4 over 4 factorial minus 2s to the 6 over 6 factorial, etc. I'm going to simplify this one. It's going to be 1 minus 2 squared for 4 divided by 2, it could be 2, so 2s squared, right? 2 to the 4 could be 16 divided by 24. It's going to be 2 over 3 s to the 4, right? Now, since we only need the coefficient of s to the 4, we stop right here, right? But this is cosine 2s, right? We need cosine square of s. Now, remember, we have cosine square of s equals 1 plus cosine 2s over 2, right? Also, sine square of s equals 1 minus cosine 2s over 2, right? So, I have cosine square of s equals 1 plus cosine 2s is actually this one right here, right? Divided by 2. 1 plus 1 is going to be 2 divided by 2 is going to be 1. Negative 2 divided by 2 is going to be negative s squared, right? And 2 thirds divided by 2 is going to be plus 1 third s to the 4, right? Now, the answer must be 1 third, right? Coefficient of s to the 4. The answer must be C. Now, let's move on to question 6. The function f has derivatives of all orders for all real numbers. And the fifth derivative of the function f is e to the psi s. If the 4-degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s were 0 is used to approximate the function f on the interval 0 to 1, what is the Lagrange error bound for the maximum error on the interval 0 to 1? Alright, so since this one is the non-alternating series, we're going to use the formula right here, right? And observe that this is the 4-degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s equals 0. And then n plus 1 right here must be 5, right? So I'm going to copy this formula over there. Now note that n plus 1 right here actually 5 right here, right? And n equals 4, right? 4-degree Taylor polynomial, right? So I'm a substitute. Now remember c equals 0, right? Center at 0. So we need to find the maximum of this guy right here within this interval, right? Now e to the psi s is maximum when psi s is maximum when s equals 1, right? The largest value of this interval, right? So we substitute 1 for s, and we have. Now we're gonna bring up the calculator. Hit this button right here, input the absolute value side right here. Hit this button, input the fraction e to the sine of 1 over 5 factorial. Hit control and the button right here, input the factorial, and then press control enter. It's gonna be 0.019. So the answer must be B. Question 7. Let f be the function given by Ls equal ln of 3 minus s, the third degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s equal to is. So this guy is the center, right? So the center a equals 2, right? So we have the Taylor polynomial is given by the formula. Now you given the function f of s right here, right? So we need to calculate f prime of s first, right? So it could be, we're going to use the formula ln of u derivative is going to be u prime over u, right? So it could be negative 1 over 3 minus s, right? So then f prime of a, but a equals 2 right here. So f prime of 2 equals negative 1 over 1, right? So it could be negative 1. Now f double prime of s equals negative 1 over s minus 3 altogether squared, right? So then f double prime of 2 is negative 1. Now f triple prime of s is 2 over s minus 3 cubed, right? So then f triple prime of 2 equals negative 2, right? Now don't forget to calculate f of 2, right? So it could be ln of 1 is to be 0, right? So we substitute this value into this formula and substitute 2 for a, right? Then we're going to end up with the answer B. Question 8. What is the polynomial approximation for the value of psi of 1 obtained by using the fifth degree Taylor polynomial about s equals 0 for the function psi s? Alright, this is very simple, right? So we have psi s is given by the formula. Now we only need fifth degree, right? So we stop right here, right? So we have psi s is approximately s minus s cubed over 3 factorial plus s to the fifth over 5 factorial. Now we need to approximate psi of 1, right? So we have psi of 1 approximately 1 minus 1 over 3 factorial plus 1 over 5 factorial, right? And it's gonna be 1 minus 1 over 6, right? Plus 1 over 120, right? So the answer must be E. Now let's move on to question 9. What is the coefficient of s squared in the Taylor series for 1 over 1 plus s squared about s equals 0? Alright, so remember we have the Taylor series is going to be given by the formula. Now note that a equals 0, right? Substitute 0 for a over here. And we need the coefficient of s squared, right? So s squared, which means right here. So the coefficient is right here, right? So we have the function f of s is given by 1 over 1 plus s altogether square is actually 1 plus s altogether raised to the negative 2, right? So we have f prime of s is going to be negative 2 times 1 plus s raised to the negative 3, right? F double prime of s is going to be 6 times 1 plus s raised to the negative 4, right? Now s equals 0, substitute over here, so we have f prime of 0 equals 6, right? So we print it over here. So we have the coefficient f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial equals 6 over 2 is going to be 3. The answer must be D. Now let's move on to question 10. If f of s equals s times psi 2s, which of the following is the Taylor series for f about s equals 0? We have psi s is given by, now we have psi of 2s, just replace s with 2s, multiply both sides by s, so we have s psi of 2s equals, so the answer must be E. Now let's move on to question 11. A function f has Markov series given by this guy. Which of the following is an expression for the function f of s? Alright, so look at the answer choice A, B, C, D, E right here. Answer choice A, B, C related to sine and cosine. Answer choice D and E related to e to the s, right? So remember the sine function is given by and the cosine function is given by the given one right here has 2 factorial, 3 factorial, 4 factorial, right? So it cannot be A, B, C, right? Because you have 3 factorial, 5, 7, or 2, 4, 6 only, right? Now we have e to the s is given by, now look at D right here, we can factor s squared out. So we have e to the s minus 1, right? So I'm going to subtract s and subtract 1 both sides, right? So I'm going to end up with e to the s, subtract 1, and then this guy gone. I'm going to have s squared over 2 factorial plus s cubed over 3 factorial plus s to the 4 over 4 factorial plus etc., right? I'm going to multiply both sides by s squared, right? So we have s squared times e to the s minus 1 equals s to the 4 over 2 factorial plus s to the 5th over 3 factorial plus s to the 6th over 4 factorial plus etc. Right? So the answer must be D. Now let's move on to question 12. Let P of s equals 3s squared minus 5s cubed plus 7s to the 4 plus 3s to the 5th be the 5th degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s. What is the value of f triple of 0? The coefficient of s cubed is given by f triple of 0 over 3 factorial in the Taylor polynomial expansion, right? Now we just match this guy up, -5 s cubed and this guy right here, right? So we have the coefficient f triple prime of 0 over 3 factorial equals -5, right? So f triple prime of 0 equals -5 times it could be -30, right? The answer must be A. Question 13. Let f be the function f of 3 equal to f prime of 3 equals -1, f double prime of 3 equals 6, and f triple prime of 3 equals 12. Which of the following is the third degree Taylor polynomial for the function f about s equals 3? So the center A equals 3, right? So we have P3 of s equals f of 3 plus f prime of 3 over 1 factorial s minus 3, right? Plus f double prime of 3 over 2 factorial s minus 3 squared plus f triple prime of 3 over 3 factorial s minus 3 cubed, right? We substitute values, right? So we have P3 of s equals f of 3 equals 2 plus f prime of 3 equals -1, right? So it could be negative of s minus 3. F double prime of 3 equals 6, so 6 divided by 2 could be 3, so plus 3 times s minus 3 squared. F triple prime of 3 equals 12, so it could be 12 divided by 6, it could be 2 s minus 3 cubed, right? So the answer must be A. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that if you failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine.